Welcome back. As we promised in our intro, we are going to tackle the energy sector in Egypt and efforts exerted by the state to continue with attracting more investments in this domain, particularly renewable energies. To shed more light on the issue, we are very much delighted to have with us via phone Dr. Mohamed, Sobki, former chairperson of the Renewable Energy Authority. Thank you very much for being with us, sir, and a very good morning.
Thank you for having me.
Sir, before going into details, is it that hard until the moment to attract investors to invest in the renewable energy sector, or now it's one of the open markets?
It's now one of the open markets. It was hard a few years ago because of the investment-related costs, but currently now cost of our related investments to renewable energies are competitive regarding the capital investment, and of course they are cheaper in running the business itself.
Yeah.
Cheaper to produce electricity from these sources, of course.
And tell me more about your vision regarding efforts exerted by the state to attract investors to invest in this domain. Because in every occasion, whether the head of a state, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli, or concerned authorities are saying that renewable energy is the future, green hydrogen is the future, and one of the top strategic issues of the state of Egypt 2030, in specific the new republic, is the green transformation. How do you see this?
Well, that started with the establishment of our constitution from a legislative point of view. The constitution was issued in 2014, indicated in Article 32 of that constitution that the state is committed for the development of renewable resources, and is committed for the efficient use of these resources for the benefit of the nation. So that's a very strong umbrella, legislative umbrella to support renewable energies, or to support renewable energies in general, and specifically the production of electricity from renewables. In addition to that, two legislations were issued in 2014. The first one was issued by the Cabinet of Ministers in October 2014, and it did indicate some financial values which the government, the state, will be buying electricity at this level from investors through what's called a feed-in tariff scheme. In addition to that, that was followed by a law, a presidential, issued by the president in December, 21st of December of 2014, and this law was targeting the promotion of renewable energies or the production of electricity from renewable energies. And in that law, four schemes were stated, plus four voluntarily schemes, plus a possible obligatory scheme, a fifth one. The four schemes promoted the production of electricity from state-owned establishments, from private establishments, and also provided the scheme to allow the investors to produce electricity, and not only to sell it to the state utilities, but also to sell it to private sector end users.
And also to achieve public-private partnership in this domain. Because,
exactly.
Yeah, if you want to elaborate on that, sir.
Yes, it's actually, it opened the market to allow for potential partnership between state entities, state utilities, and possible private investors.
Amen to that. But here, sir, I should focus on the volume, or what companies can have a share in that. I mean, so many people, when they hear about renewable energy, they only think that this is a mega project. This is something which cannot be shouldered or carried out by a small company or a startup, a new entrepreneur. We want to know, we want to give some awareness, or let the people know about the different sizes of projects and different sizes of companies which can work in this domain. If you want to elaborate on that too.
Sure. Well, actually, the law was addressing both large-sized projects as well as small and medium-sized projects. It indicated also a target capacity to achieve certain level of contribution of the electricity from renewable energy. And that target capacity, there was two targets, one for the large size project and one for the small and medium sized projects. And in this case, based on this, more than actually we have reached, as of today, more than 250 entities, small and medium sized entities, working in the field of applying the production of electricity from renewable sources for small-sized projects, home-type projects, commercial mall-type projects, or small industry, or agriculture. So this is developing, and it is picking up, and encouragement rules as well as other associated laws like the investment law as well as
and financial inclusion and others. But sir, I'd like also to focus on something which I think is totally related to the topic we are talking about. Simply the geographic location of certain cities. I mean, we have Pimpan Solar Energy in Aswan, because Upper Egypt is a treasure when it comes to solar energy, in my humble opinion, of course. Going to the New Valley or El Wadi Al Jadid, this is another treasure, but for wind energy. How do you see the different geographical sites of Egypt as another source of attraction, or at least one of the elements which should be taken into consideration?
I'm glad you raised this, because actually the New Valley, or the western side of Egypt, based on measurements and observation made by the New and Renewable Energy Authority, is not only blessed by high wind regimes, as well as solar radiation. If you look at it, that the projects which are being planned to be implemented in this area, it looks like a checkerboard, where one part is for solar and the other one for wind, and from a meter type analysis, they complement each other, which means is that wind energy will be resourceful during evenings, during the night, while solar energy is available during the day. In addition,
sir, I remember well, I'm sorry for the interruption.
No,
I think it was 10 years ago, or a little bit more than that, there was a German group of scientists who were here in Egypt, and they went to the El Wadi Al Jadid, or the New Valley Governorate, and they said a statement which was, I was really very proud to hear, that the wind energy from the New Valley of Egypt alone can enlighten all of Europe.
That is true. This is a right assessment, but of course, at the time, the level of investments were the challenge. It's not technology. At the time, but it was the level of investment. And so that did not pick up very quickly. But now the development of the technology, as well as the spread of the technology all over the world, that allowed the investment related obligations to be lowered, and that will allow us to have attractive projects, attractive for investment, as well as attractive for the country, given that we will rely, hopefully gradually, but in an expedited way, maybe in up to maximum 10 years or so, that we will rely heavily on the renewable resources because of the lower investment costs, because of the attractiveness of course, of the investment environment in the country.
So, sir, let's summarize what we have said to the simple citizen, because I'd like the message to reach everyone. Now, you've kindly said that we do have the legal frame just to invade this market of renewable energy. What do we need more? Is it finance? Is it studying the geographic locations of each governorate or area in Egypt to know what is suitable for it? Is it thinking out of the box? Is it finance, funds? Is it to achieve on the ground partnerships, whether among the private sector or public-private sector or Egyptian private sector along with the foreign private sector? What is the most important point of what I've said?
Well, it's attracting finance, but attracting finance likely for large-size projects will be international finance. For small and medium-sized projects, likely it will be national finance. And in this case, a number of entities in Egypt, state entities as well as private sector entities, are providing the feasibility studies, the technical financial feasibility study under the current promising legislative framework. So this is picking up, of course, for very small size projects and with the level of prices of electricity tariff now, it's becoming more attractive to small end users, where they are paying comparable, they will be paying comparable prices or even lower prices for electricity from renewable energy sources.
Dr. Sobki, only a few days ago there was a tripartite summit here in Egypt as President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi received his Cypriot counterpart and also the Greek Prime Minister, and there was also a business council which was formed among the three countries. Among the most important MOUs or Memoranda of Understanding which were signed, it was about electricity and about exporting electricity to Europe via Cyprus and Greece. How do you see the importance of such MOUs and agreements and this fruitful cooperation between Egypt and its allies from other continents, especially here, Europe?
It's a very positive step, and actually it's building on previous steps regarding this cooperation. Egypt is looking into interconnecting with Europe, not only through Cyprus and Greece, but also through Italy. There is a bit of a technical challenge, but everyone is working on it, is the route of the cables, the route of connecting these networks together, the network of Egypt, the network of Cyprus and Greece, as well as the network of Italy as entry points to Europe. This is the depth of the sea, where in some parts it reaches 3,000 meters, 3 kilometers, and that presents technically a large technical, a big technical challenge regarding, because these electricity networks will be under a very heavy pressure, the water pressure in these at this level, or at this level of depths of the 3 kilometers depth.
Yeah.
But this is working on, and apparently the financial feasibility for such a project or such projects or such routes is clear. It's possible. It will also allow Europe to have access to renewable energies and reduce their dependency on fossil fuels.
And coping with what Egypt started years ago, particularly after hosting COP27, and taking into consideration that it's the responsibility of all countries all over the world to decrease the temperature of planet Earth, to decrease carbon emission, because this is the life of the coming generations. True?
Definitely true. You know, I'd like to mention one simple number here. With each 1 kilowatt hour, like it's the consumption of fuel lamps, consumption of electricity for fuel lamps for 1 hour. One kilowatt hour from renewable energies will save us half a kilogram of CO2. Will avoid the production of half kilogram of CO2, and that's huge impact on the environment, on the global environment, and that's actually one attraction, and it is going also along with the current
carbon emission
developed in Europe on the European Union, where the European Union is going to push for the use of renewable energies through what's called something like a carbon tax, and they are going to limit their imports from any goods, agriculture goods, industrial goods, or anything, if these goods are in their value chain. Fossil fuels or carbon production was part of that value chain. So
Dr. Sobki, one final question, because this is going to wrap up, I think, a big part of what we have said. Regarding all the kinds of renewable energy we mentioned, what we said can be also applied on green hydrogen, or green hydrogen is a totally different story?
No, it applies 100% to green hydrogen, because green hydrogen is basically why it's called green, because the electricity used to produce the hydrogen is coming from renewables. So either we export energy, electricity coming from renewables, or we export hydrogen. So this is sort of two complementing activities. We can either produce hydrogen in Egypt nationally here, and that's actually attracting a number of investors in the country now, where we have on ground some projects already being built. And so the production of hydrogen or the production of electricity from renewables is complementing each other and will help.
So it's a whole system, it's a whole symphony which we should have a maestro to lead. And this is exactly what we are doing in Egypt in cooperation with our allies, whether in Africa, in Europe, or with the whole world, I mean, because this is our duty not only to planet Earth, but to the coming generations. Dr. Mohamed Sobki, I really enjoyed our discussion. Thank you very much for your valuable input, and have a very good day. We were very much delighted to have with us via phone Dr. Mohamed Sobki, former chairperson of the Renewable Energy Authority. Right after the short break, I'm going to return back with more. Stay tuned only on Nile TV International.